What's up, Union Arena players? This is Kyle D, better known as Unionversities, and today we have my 20th place deck profile from none other than Egman's events. So without further ado, let's get in the video and talk about it. So let's get into the card by card real quick and talk about everything. So first off, we are playing for C2. This zero cost for C2 is basically really good. The fact that you can extend plays with it and early on just be able to generate 2 energy to make sure that you can pop off, and then you can just ride a Gawain over her and boom, all of a sudden that you don't lose the character and you get to apply pressure that way, usually can lead to being very scary for your opponent to deal with. So 4 of her is pretty solid. Then we do have 4, none other than the mastermind himself, 0, aka Lelouch Lamperouche. This card is also treated as Lelouch as its main effect. It has 1,500 BP, and this card is a get trigger, so this card comes to your hand. So not bad. I think it's really solid. You want to have as many Lelouches as you can because most of your deck triggers around Lelouch. So 0 does help that out as well. C2, CC, get out of my way. Then we do have none other than 3 of the 0 cost Collins. This makes it very weird. We're at 11 of our zeros, and that's kind of commonplace for some lists. And to be honest with you, not bad at all. I think this 0 ratio is pretty fine. I didn't have any trouble at least starting off the game with a 0 and then starting to get my other zeros when need be. So yeah, that's fine. Then we do have none other than the 1 cost Colin. This is another trigger that does come up. This is your rainbow trigger. This one basically lets you play a body into your front line from your trash of a 2 or less variety and 1 AP. Then you do have your turn. If you have a Lelouch Lamperouche on the field, this card is a 3000 DP. So this can matter and come up, especially against the red matchup where they can try to remove your character. It's not a when attacking skill, so this makes it so it guarantees that you can get some damage in. Then we do have 3 of the 2 cost 1 AP Lelouch Lamperouche. This card basically says when played, choose one of your opponent's character minus 1,000 DP. It's a draw trigger, so if it hits insecurity, it's that, and it's 2,500. So this card, definitely being able to minus something 1,000 DP can come up, and it helps remove threats off the board that you really want to get removed. So just good to have, in my personal opinion. Then we do play 2 C2 of the super rare variety. This card is a draw trigger as well, but you know, it's a 2 cost 1 AP 1,500. And this card is when played, you draw a card, but if you used a 2 AP action card this turn, you get to draw a second card. So I really like her. I had her at originally 3 in my original list, but I replaced it to try something different because I wanted to see if we can make it a little more consistent to get the Gearans. So I think I'm gonna do some more tweaking with the list and see where it goes, but I don't mind 2 C2s, but might bump her up to 3. We'll have to see. Then we do have 3 of the super rare Colin. So super rare Colin literally says on play, look at the top 5, add 1 Gearan among them to your hand, place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck, and then, you know, that's pretty it. You know, draw trigger is what she does, and I think it's just pretty decent around the board. Colin being able to dig you to a piece sometimes just matters because sometimes you just need a Gearan to end the game, and being able to get that final Gearan is what makes the world go around with this deck. Then we are playing the Lelouch Lamperouche 3 cost. This is a double energy generator because that is super important. It has a act trigger of basically unsuspending something, give something 3,000 DP. So you make your bodies bigger, but it has a what could come up of a effect that basically choose up to one of your characters in the field. It gains this character can't be blocked by characters of 2000 DP or less until the end of the turn. So basically you can get some free damage if you minus the board with Gawain and do some crazy shenanigans from there. Just some value engine as well. The double energy is what's really nice because you need to have that. Then we do play Colin, 3 cost, 1 AP, 3000 DP, double energy generator, and it's the same as the Lelouch Lamperouche that we just talked about. It gives that restand plus 3000 DP. Just makes it so you can apply pressure that way, no issues. Then we do have for Gawain. Gawain is really good. The fact that basically once it's rated, you can't small chump block this thing is really good, but it also combos extremely well with your other pieces that basically make sure that you can remove most threats very comfortably. You know, when played, it minuses all characters in your opponent's front line by 1000 DP until the end of turn. And then it basically is a raid trigger that basically comes in so you can easily make your opponent's board smaller so you can do some better trading if hit in security early on. So I like Gawain. It's really powerful of a card. Then we do have 4 of the Gearin Mark II. This card, again, what's really sucks about the Gearins after a certain point is that they all just go offline for a bit. After they're a one and done kind of card, they don't gain any other momentums or anything like that, which is okay to me. But the fact that you basically get your impact shut off after removing something for the one turn kind of sucks. But even defensively, this card is pretty decent because being able to hit this and then raid on your turn, on your opponent's turn, and be able to pop their 3000 DP might actually come up, and you'll be able to remove a threat, and sometimes that's all you want to do. And being able to raid this card on your opponent's turn does add up to being some crazy shenanigans. Then we are playing Gearin Mark II. This one is straight up the one similar to what would be known as Hisoka. This card basically, as long as you have a Lelouch Lamperouche when you play this card, when you rated it, this card basically says, you know, this card will rate, swing in, you know, swing, basically force your opponent to block and you'll impact them. So you're basically guaranteeing a damage and removing a body at the same time. Really solid. I love the Gearin Mark II. I think they're very powerful cards and they're vitally useful. Then we do play 4 of the United States of Japan. This card is just your AP extender, and I'm starting to try to get into a habit of not using these right away because this deck can very comfortably not touch this until the near end game where you just want to clear board and house, and boom, you're in a good spot. And then we do have Power of Absolute Obedience. This card is your removal spell. This card literally says to your opponent that basically you're killing any 5k they have on board, but if you have a Lelouch Lamperouche on board, you basically get to gain an AP back. So this thing now can combo in with your C2s, that your super rare C2, and just have some great value that way. So stuff like that matters and it combos extremely well. Being able to gain an AP back after removing something sometimes is all you kind of need, and that means that your opponent's just having a bad time. But the fact of the matter is, just remember, to play this card, you have to use it when you have you have 2 active AP. A lot of the other cards reduce their AP cost, so it means that you have to combo it in a certain way just to gain all that value. So just remember that you can be cucked if that card if you only have 1 AP left. So if you were planning on using it, you're going to have to use it before, not after. But it's kind of good because, again, extends your plays, remove something is always good. Now, from testing wise, I don't know what I'll modify in the list yet. I think there is going to be changes coming regardless of situation. I think there's just a lot of possibilities what you can do with this deck with no shame at all. But, you know, I really like the list. I think the deck's actually pretty nutty strong in this format, and I think it's going to be good going into any format. This deck doesn't feel like it has an extremely bad matchup. It has a lot of good matchups and kind of fair matchups. It just doesn't feel like you're playing on the back foot with this deck ever. So, first match, let's go over what I played. First round, we played Mahito. Very close game, actually. I almost killed him. If I didn't hit the Mahito back from the trash effect, I would have had him for game. He would have been dead to rights, and there was nothing else he could do about it. The fact that I hit his purple trigger that let him play the Mahito, and then he got double crazy people out, and I had 3 bodies. I was able to take 1 damage. I just could not take 2, you know, and that was what kind of killed me there, was that. But that's fine, you know, respective. We take those. Next one, we faced against Ashford Academy, 1-0. That we won that one, just basically controlling their board, keeping them off their deck. They had a little bit of trouble early game where they weren't seeing all their pieces. It happens. Code Purple, we played against a mirror match. Just he saw a lot more of his pieces than I did and was able to end the game. The fact that he ended the game with another Gawain and was able to swing in with no resistance was huge. I should have probably, to be honest with you, instead of removing the Gearin, I should have went after the Gawain. I know I killed off the Gearin Mark II. I should have just got rid of the Gawain, realizing that the Gawain was going to be my downfall. And if I did that, I would have been fine, because the Mark II is not dealing me any damage. It's just a big beefy 4K that I could probably answer afterwards. So that was just a misplay on my part. I think I should have just used it to remove the Gawain instead, because the Gawain has an active effect, and I completely spaced on that. Then we played against a Toshi Rush. Bad Toshi is just a reference to RJ, a friend of mine at Locals. He just, if it's not his list, it's Bad Toshi. So, I mean, there's always good ways of playing it. This one didn't play any final triggers. So basically no extensions, just had to be efficient, and was super efficient and was putting me on the back burner. But, you know, after that, we just kind of won that. Then we had Purple Bleach and Karapika. Now, these decks I rushed down the living daylights out of. There was nothing. I was basically going body up, promote, swing. You know, just dealing that damage so quickly and removing any threats they had that were big and beefy right off the gate. So it was just stuff like that just matters sometimes, and just being able to put in that aggression against Purple Bleach and Karapika, you're just in a good spot. And I didn't even feel like I was struggling against Karapika, but you know, that's just because the deck actually can answer Karapika's shenanigans very comfortably, because again, we can just minus their threats and just go from there. You know, to say all in all 4-2 is not a bad run, getting 20th place. If there was a 7th round, we would have been fine, but the down pair won, and that led to basically one undefeated at the end of round 6, and basically kind of cucked me from getting my big finish. But we would have probably made top 16 if we had one more round. So not too extremely salty about this, but you know, thank you, Egman, for hosting events. I do appreciate it. But at the end of the day, I like my list. It's super good, fluent. Small changes will be coming. I don't know. I want to test a bunch of stuff. I think maybe it's not even testing Colin out, to be honest with you. They're all KMFs. So maybe I'm going to try, instead of Colin, maybe somebody that's going to be able to search. Oh, I forget her name, but maybe use her that searches for any of the KMFs. Might be the play. I don't know. We'll have to see. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.